Any series will have its fair share of challenges along the way, and this time it's no exception. We head from the Sunshine State a fortnight ago to the Lone Star State, which for what is set to be another exciting amount of racing action. Austin's Circuit of the Americas is known around the globe for being both a high-speed and technical circuit that will be challenging to negotiate. No matter the machinery, especially in a GTP machine of a driver's choice. It also requires commitment and precision to tame this roller coaster of a track. Time to get ready for racing, as we are here for the penultimate round of the Driving Club at Road Atlanta Winter iRacing League. And you'll see it all live here in sound and vision on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi everyone, it's Alex Goldschmidt, and alongside me in the booth today is Rob Covey. Behind the scenes is our director Daniel Costello, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Now, let's find out more about this intricate Texan circuit with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Circuit of the Americas. The cliche of everything's bigger in Texas rings true for this track in the Lone Star State. Built specifically for Formula One, the number of corners, circuit length, safety features, and general track amenities immediately set this place apart from almost every racing course in the United States. Of the 3 layouts available, the most widely used is the Grand Prix circuit, which tops out at a whopping 20 turns along nearly 3.5 miles. Many of them have been modeled after well-known sections of European tracks such as Silverstone, Hockenheim, and Istanbul. But compared to those venues, this place still has lots of unique challenges. Turn 1 in particular features the largest elevation change from the lap and culminates in a blind and sharp hairpin. The penultimate corner is just as tough, with its off-camber apex and sudden drop forcing many to escape to the paved runoff on the outside. And though it was meant to lure F1, many other series have now raced here, ranging from IndyCar to WEC, IMSA, and even V8 supercars. Track days are also common, with the SCCA running all types of amateur events to allow up-and-coming drivers to feel what it's like to battle on the same tarmac as Vettel and Hamilton have. With this track, American race fans finally get to experience a purpose-built course made in the modern day. Texas went bigger and better, and in the process, raised the bar for their peers.
Driving Club at Road Atlanta Winter iRacing League is powered by DiscoveryParts. DiscoveryParts is a supporter of DCRA and brings a full range of safety gear for the members at the private track day events. By bringing a wide selection of safety gear, they make sure that DCRA members get the perfect gear the first time, every time. And with that, let's bring Rob Covey into the booth. Rob, hi buddy, how you doing? GTPs at Circuit of the Americas, what can the folks expect when they watch the action tonight?
They're going to be looking for some really high speeds down the straights, really heavy braking into some very, very tight corners. 20 turns tonight. Going to be doing a lot of work with the gears, a lot of work with the pedals. It's going to take some concentration not to put the car off track.
Yeah, before we were watching some of the antics during qualifying as we're getting towards the final 7 minutes. We've got a wide range of obviously modern day GTP machinery. We've got the Acura, we've got the Porsche, and we've got the good old flat plane crank V8 Caddy. I mean, out of those 3, which one is your favourites?
Well, I did start out with the BMW when it was first released, but I have become very, very close to the Caddy. So really enjoy driving it, just love the sound of it, and it is a joy to drive.
Indeed, and you know, I mean, of course, BMW have been part of IMSA along with all the other manufacturers that have come on board for this season. Of course, we're going to see Lamborghini at some point during the season. We've had the Rolex at 24 a little bit earlier this year. We've also got the famed 12 Hours of Sebring coming up, I think, if our memory serves me correctly, by the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. But of course, apart from the sheer ferocity of these aero-dependent GTP cars, you know, there's going to be an opportunity where they can really maximize the skill set and get their racecraft down pat. But let's remind you all of the format. It's round 4 out of 5. We're going to go to Road Atlanta on March 5th for the final round. It's a 20-minute sprint, and we've got a 25-minute feature. They will do a second qualifying session. It's an open setup, and drive-through penalties will be issued at 25x incident points. So, Rob, we know that there is a lot of technicality, especially where they go down the backstretch between turn 11 and 12, and then you've got, some very, very fast, very tight technical sections. Track limits are going to be one of the big bones of contention here tonight.
Well, and that is the thing. You only have a 25 incident limit, and this track is not forgiving for going off track. It's very easy to get an off track here. If you miss a braking point or just go too wide, the track, it's going to penalize you, and it's not very pleasant the amount of time it gives you for doing that off track and getting that penalty point.
Yeah, I think when we saw quite a few people, including the number 6 of Rafael Torres, who had a bit of a torrid time. Let's not forget, a couple of weeks ago back at the World Centre of Racing at Daytona International Speedway at the road course. We have got Jamil Gummer, who has been very, very quick in the Acura, currently setting a 1:51.4 as the fastest lap. There's Rafael Torres, the Carolina native in the number 6 car. Fastest lap so far, a 1:52.7. Daniel Vincent in the 100 Porsche rounds out the top 3, ahead of David Madden in the first 2 caddies, and the running gag of DCOG is in the Drivers' Club of Georgia, the number 1 caddy, which is running the good old M&M livery, which we both sort of like gone, oh, that looks pretty good. We've got Tyler Neal back again in the number 2 Porsche, and Cameron Campbell in the number 7, who's actually out on an outlap. Now, Lord Franzi saying in the GSRC YouTube chat, now, is it true that the legendary Tyler Neal opted in to do this race? Well, Lord Franzi, I think you might need to ask the question directly to Mr. Neal on that front, but we're riding on board with Rafael Torres, and from this perspective here, Rob, we really get an insight of how hard the drivers are working behind the wheel.
Well, and I have driven COTA in one of these cars, and you can really, these cars are very, very aero dependent, so you really, really want to keep up the speeds. But you can see here, it's hard to keep that speed up when you're coming into, I believe he was coming into turn 11 there, which brings you into the high speed up to turn 12, and it's an over a 90-degree turn. There is no aero holding your car, and it's all dependent on how you turn the car in and where you start that turn in.
I mean, around the circuit, where are you really sort of, when are you finding that the aero is really sort of helping the downforce in the car and sort of adhere it onto the track? Because coming to, turn 12 and then all the way through to turn 19 and 20, it's low speed, you're down the gearbox, you're hard on the brakes, you're trying to power out of the corners whilst carrying the momentum through. Where is it going to be more the case that the drivers will really get the effect of the aero? I would imagine that's probably going to be from like turn 2 to turn 9.
Exactly. That is exactly where it is, because that's where you want to, they're tight but high-speed corners, and the faster you can get through them, the better. You want enough downforce to plant the car to get through these corners, but you also don't want too much downforce so that when you get for the run from 19 to 20, and then up to turn 1, and then the whole run down from 11 to 12 on the back stretch, you want as much speed as you can get.
Yep. So. Our broadcast director has been requested, can we watch some Tyler Neal? Well, he is currently out on circuit. He's actually set the most amount of laps in this qualifying session, which is coming up to time in about a minute or so. And there is the number 2, getting past one of the other Porsches. So Tyler currently rounding out P6 at the moment. Best effort so far from the number 2 Porsche, a 1:55.665, which actually was his previous lap. So a lot of opportunity in this lengthy qualifying stroke practice session here, Rob, for the drivers to really get a handle of the vehicles before they go for their, as we see, a lot of smoke from the rear end and then a lock up on the front brakes from Tyler Neal. It's given them enough wheel time to get an understanding and a gauge of the track conditions, especially when we've got low humidity. Circuit air temperature is around about 72, so it's in the low 70s, 72 degrees Fahrenheit or 22 degrees Celsius on track, 74 degrees Fahrenheit or 23 degrees Celsius out on track, 6 mile an hour wind, southerly direction, with a very, very low humidity of 6%. I mean, the humidity always plays its part, and with it being quite low, what's that going to cause with regards to the cars as qualifying comes to an end?
More speed. The cooler the temperatures, the more you can regulate and get the optimum temperature in the car and get the most speed out of it. get the most grip out of it. Although the 60% is going to kind of hurt them a little bit. Just not, track not completely worked in. They're not going to have as much grip as they would definitely like to have.
Yeah, that was not exactly good there. I think that was Rafael Torres just going into pit road and clattering the barriers on the right-hand side. Tyler Neal trying to go on his last push lap in this qualifying session. Best effort so far, a 155.665 coming out of the 20th and final corner. Not going to be on the same pace that we've seen him. Didn't really improve on that last lap. That was pretty much invalidated as Cameron Campbell goes for a spin. That would have been probably towards the end of like T6, T7. David Madden on a final push lap. So they've got about 1 minute and 45 until the server times out. But of course, the caddy, famed for its, as you said, you've gotten a bit more comfortable. You're loving the caddy a bit more, but that noise from that 5.5 litre naturally aspirated flat plane crank is just something else. It's like it's an absolute hooligan.
Well, and I mean, when it's an engine, you got to listen to for, be it 25 minutes here for the races or for this event, or, the 24-hour, it's just a nice sound to have in your ear. And instead of some of the other ones, which can, to be honest, be kind of a little bit whiny.
Yeah, especially with the fact plenty of the engines, including the Acura and the Porsche turbocharged, but the qualifying session has come to an end, and it is Jamil Gummer in the number 5 Acura that has put it on pole position for race 1 of round 4 here at Circuit of the Americas. A big thank you to the people that are joining us on the Global Sim Racing channel. If you haven't already subscribed, we are over 14,000 subscribers at the moment and climbing, and it is a real pleasure to have you along for the ride here at this roller coaster. Circuit of the Americas has been in operation since late October 2012. So here we go with the grid for race 1 of round 4 of the Driving Club by Road Atlanta Winter iRacing Series. It's going to be Jamil Gummer in the Acura, number 5 on pole position. Rafael Torres in the number 6 Porsche alongside, with Daniel Vincent and David Madden in the 100 and the number 4 rounding out row 2. DCOG, aka Drivers Club of Georgia, in the number 1 will round out the inside of row 3 alongside the number 2 of Tyler Neal, with Cameron Campbell in the number 7 bringing up the rear of the field. Now, for those wondering what happened last time out, we had plenty of dramas at the World Centre of Racing at Daytona International Speedway. We are waiting for the server to tick over, and then the drivers will start readying up, which they are starting to do now. And even with this small amount of cars on the grid, there's the M&M tribute livery band that we've just seen just come on there, thanks to DCOG, in 5th place. I mean, it's bright, it's sunny, it's going to help with the track evolution. And of course, these GTP cars, we both know, Rob, are an absolute brutes. And it's going to be a real interesting dynamic of how these drivers get on. Qualifying's one thing, but the racing is something completely different altogether.
Well, and we did see the mistakes in qualifying too. I mean, you just want to push this car. The more you push it, the better it feels. But if you just go over that little edge that you shouldn't, the car is going to bite you, and it's going to bite you hard. And as many know, the rear is cable braking, the front is hydraulic braking. So braking is really an issue here with driving this car. And this turn 1, run up into turn 1 should be very interesting, trying to get the car up to speed and then slowed right down and make that left-hand turn as they get underway here.
Yeah, but bogged down there by our pole sitter Jamil Gummer as they go off the line. There's a bit of a spin. Rafael Torres has made nearly a 360 pirouette going through turn 1 as they head into 2, 3 and 4 down the descent, and Jamil Gummer already back up into P5, chasing down Tyler Neal into the latter part of the section. So again, just as Rob said, the harder you push the cars, the better aero comes to the vehicles, as Tyler Neal closing in on DCOG in the M&M number 1 Cadillac. What's the DPI lap record set back in 2017 in the Sports Car Showdown for IMSA, as there's a launch and a half by Gummer up the inside of Neal, who tries to get the over-under. That was very, very close indeed. So Tyler Neal trying to battle for 3rd place, but Gummer's got the run on both Decog and Neil as they head down the backstretch here into turn 12. Madden is not too far behind Vincent for the race lead. It's going to be hard on the brakes. Will Decog pin into the outside? Not quite.
Yeah, it's just, cold tires right now, right off the start. And it does take, regardless of the track you're on, it takes these tires a good half a lap, and especially at these temperatures, maybe a full lap and a half before they really get up to temperature and the braking comes in and the car really starts to grip up around the track.
As Cameron Campbell has had a little bit of an off-track excursion, that would have been, I think, towards the far part of the circuit, as David Madden keeping within half a second Daniel Vincent, as this is the battle for the race lead. 18 minutes down to completed as we complete the opening lap, and a 1:56.4 for Daniel Vincent, 1:57 flat for David Madden as they head up the hill again. Decog battling away with Neil for fourth place on the road. Neil goes high, wide and handsome towards the outside, locks up the brakes and goes deep. And yeah, all that hard work that he just carried out just went a little bit awry, went a bit south, but Madden just trying to keep the number 4 caddy just behind Vincent as they are heading into what is going to be the latter part of the first half of this circuit. And it's a really good onboard that we see here, Rob, because of course being a closed cockpit prototype, you really get an understanding of how hard these drivers are pushing. And into turn 11, which is this, this 270-degree left-hand hairpin, and it's about getting the power down out of that corner. And look how quickly Gummer has closed on in within about a lap and a half up there in front.
Yeah, there's actually two different ways to hit that turn 11. I mean, you can take it really wide and really try and get on the power and cut out of it, or you can take an early apex and try and let the car wash out and kind of roll onto the power and get up out of the straight. And we saw both instances of that, of just how this car wants to come around those corners. But yeah, I agree with you with the cockpit view. It just shows how much they're gearing down, how much they're gearing up. A lot of gear work, a lot of steering work to get the car around this track cleanly.
As we ride on board with the number 5 Acura, piloted by Jamil Gummer, who had a big old drama at the opening corner on the opening lap, but is closing in on David Madden in the number 4 caddy for second position. And there is Daniel Vincent, the 100 Porsche, leading the way. This is going to be very, very close indeed out of the final corner. Of course, the deployment is another issue we have to talk about here, Rob, because with his GTPs, as Vincent puts in the fastest lap, a 1:54.207, but that's quickly trounced by Jamil Gummer, who puts in a 1:53.0 and really is up close and personal to the rear diffuser of David Madden going through T1.
Well, you bring up the deployment mode, and for those that are not familiar with GTP, this car has a hybrid system which allows them to roll more power and take some of the load off of the engine when coming out of a corner. The driver should be able to use attack mode pretty much for the entire race. I believe they would have to click it off maybe for 1 or 2 laps. But the difference between having the deployment is, looks like Decog has had an incident. The biggest thing about the deployment is if you run out, you're basically a dead stick on the track compared to everybody else.
Yeah, as we still keep an eye on this battle for the top 3 down the back stretch through turns 11 and 12. We run on board on the right side of Jamil Gummer as Madden looks to the outside of Vincent to try and get the switchback on Vincent for the race lead. The caddy takes a tighter line as they run through into turn 13. And again, Madden looking for the inside. Vincent cuts it off nice and neatly there. Gummer looking around the outside of the number 4 caddy to get through for second position. Now into the next part here at turn 15, a very tight left-hander. Squad on the power again. Try not to overcommit and use too much throttle modulation as they go through some of the fastest corners. They're actually building speed and going up the gears, sometimes short shifting, I would imagine, here as well, Rob, to keep the traction on the back axle, because these cars are very rear-wheel drive dependent, as again, this battle is not showing any signs of dying down as we're 6 minutes in, 14 to go.
Yeah, short shifting, it just gives you that little bit more confidence to put the car, the pedal down to the floor without lighting up the rears. And we saw that a bit in the qualifying that I was watching. Some of these drivers, they're trying to get out of the corner get down on the power, and the rear end just does not want to hold on because the corners are so slow that your aero isn't really helping you. It's all going to be depending on how you've got the suspension set up on the car.
So with 13 and 3/4 minutes left in this opening race out of 2 for round 4 of the 2024 season for the Driving Club at Road Atlanta Winter Series, powered by DiscoveryParts, we still have this great tete-a-tete battle between these 3 drivers and 3 manufacturers out of the current GTP grid being basically being represented, as they are literally in a diagonal formation coming out of turn 11. Gunnar now trying to get the run on Madden down the back stretch on the run down to turn number 12, and the number 5 is looking to the inside here at T12 on the Cadillac. He's going to have to be very late on the brakes, looks for the commitment up the inside, and Madden might get the power down. He's going to get the inside run into the next corner, and it was a very good defense there from David.
Yeah, that was really good to hold on to that position. I think Gummer might have, relaxed a little bit. I've been watching him, these last few laps, and it looks like he's just trying to find out where is he getting, where is he tied with him coming into the corner, but he gets out better. That was definitely a huge look to see whether or not he could get around him in that corner.
That was more than sticking the front wing of the Acura up the inside of the Cadillac through into T12. Meanwhile, we've got Tyler Neal battling away with Rafael Torres for P4, and Torres trying to carry the momentum a little bit wider through the corners, taking a more unconventional racing line in comparison with the number 2. So it is Porsche v Porsche in this particular occasion. They are not that far apart, probably the best part of about half a second as they will cross the stripe once again onto lap number 5 with just 12 minutes to go. And again, even though these guys are, the best part of about 12.5 seconds up behind Jamil Gummer, who put it on pole position, had that spill on the opening lap at turn 1. It really just goes to show that you can have some great racing, whether you're battling up and down the order. And what a camera shot that was, just seeing the 2 Porsches fly over the curbing through the fast-paced section through turns 2 and into 9. That just showcases GTP machinery at its finest when it's at full throttle.
Yeah, and it's fun. Like I said, I love driving the GTP. When you can run at those speeds and you can take those corners and your foot's flat, almost flat to the floor, it's just so much enjoyment. And when you can do it with somebody side by side in a race, you want to beat them, but it just gives you that much more enjoyment to be able to hang on.
Well, Gummer's managed to make the move on Madden finally for that 2nd place, as we're about to hit half-time in this opening race out of 2. So 20-minute sprint as Tyler Neal has a moment, and Torres has got through for 4th. So Tyler Neal looked to be at a dead standstill. That would have been coming down the backstretch into turn number 12, as he locks up the front brakes again on the Porsche 963. As Gummer now going for the race lead with 10.5 minutes to go, and they all, Gummer runs.
You got to watch those off tracks.
I know, Vincent was wide and then some, all 4 wheels off the circuit coming out of turn number 19. But Vincent still holding on to the lead as we are hitting half-time onto lap 6. And Vincent's doing a really good job at the front end of the field. He's just kept his calm and kept his nerve.
Well, I've actually been keeping an eye on Rafael Torres here. Right now he is the fastest car on the track by nearly half a second. Over Madden, Gummer, and Vincent. So it would be really interesting to see in these next 9 minutes, if any of these 3 make a mistake, whether he can continue to close that gap up like he's been doing for the last at least 2-3 laps.
Yeah, he's got that gap down to about 12.2 seconds at the moment, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 12.5 seconds. Gummer's got a really, really racy, and now is looking up the inside on Vincent. That is going to be a good move if he makes that happen. A little bit of
There's
contact.
A touch.
Yep, there's a little bit of touching between Vincent's front and Gummer's rear coming out of turn number 11. It's going to be the run down the back stretch. So Acura versus Porsche for the race lead here down into turn 12. Vincent's probably going to look to the inside. He's going to try for the move. Gummer closes it off, but leaves the door very, very open. Vincent's going to be late on the brakes. Is he going to stop it in time? He's going to run a little bit wide. That's going to allow Gummer to get the move back through and round the outside into turn 13. Gummer retakes the lead. Great stuff, but he runs a bit wide.
Yeah, just not able to get the power down, just the angle he took that corner, and Gummer just took full advantage of it. and probably knew that was what was going to happen with him trying to cut that corner the way he did, that he was going to have to wait that extra half a second to get the power down, and Gummer jumped on him.
Right, let's have a look at the GSRC replay. Now, this is from earlier on the move on Madden from Gummer. They were side by side, and Gummer just absolutely launched it up the inside of the number 4 Cadillac and got through, and that was at turn number 11 going onto the back stretch. So very, very brazen move there from Jamil Gummer, who is leading by the best part of nearly a second. So it looks like Gummer could get that Acura a little bit further into the distance as Madden closes on Vincent for that P2 slot.
Yeah, really threw it in there, and that's what downforce does for you. That, you know, this is an open setup; they can set these cars up however they want. And if he's running a little bit more downforce than these guys, he's able to hold the car in that corner at that speed, because the the aerodynamic line is just going to push the car into the track and allow him to make that move.
So Madden swarming all over the back of Vincent for P2. Gummer's now extended a lead with 7 3/4 minutes to go on the timer to about 2 seconds. So Gummer is now starting to punch through the clean air very, very nicely. So that will be one for Gummer to look at the replay of a little bit later on when everything's all said and done after these 2 races here for round 4 of the Driving Club at Road Atlanta Winter iRacing League, powered by DiscoveryParts. But Madden is closing in on that Porsche down the back stretch. Vincent is going to go tighter into T12, and Madden has no real response. We're on board with the number 4 Caddy into 13, and yeah, I think the thing is now Gomez has got that clear air, got that clear track in front, and now can start pushing the car, whereas Vincent and Madden will be squabbling over the scraps on the dinner table here, Rob.
Yeah, and he was pretty quick, and I mean that just showed the move he made to get up front. That he's even if he's running a little more downforce, maybe he doesn't have the speed. He can get through the corners a lot faster than these two. But I'm pretty sure David wants to get up there and contest for P2, and maybe try and get Gummer before the end of this race. But that gap between Gummer and second and third is really opening up now.
Yeah, opening up big time. 6.5 minutes still to go. New fastest lap. Jamil Gummer, 1:52.213 on lap 7. We're on to lap 8 as our second and third place drivers, Daniel Vincent and David Madden. Porsche versus Caddy once again as they go through into turn 2. Now it's into the left turn 3. And very much like the Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel complex at Silverstone, COTA has taken pretty much some of the best parts of motorsport: fast sweeping corners, rapid lateral changes in direction, to really test all and sundry. And as you said, Rob, with regards to the downforce, you've really got to have it hooked up. Of course, these drivers running on open setup here in the GTP class, and in some respects it's all about finding that nice compromise between flat out speed and handling.
Yeah, I mean, you want to get to, the aero is very important on these cars. You want to have the suspension and you want to have your mechanical grip really, really good. And it's a fine-tuning balance between getting your aero right and getting the suspension right, just to give you the grip, whether you're at high speed or coming through turn 11 here in that high speed or that very, very slow speed over 90-degree turn.
Madden makes the move on Vincent for P2, but Vincent straight back up the inside. And a little bit of a paint rub between the pair. That was very, very close indeed. Madden nearly locks up under braking, trying to chase Vincent down. So Madden had the run going through into turn 12, got the apex, got the move done, but then Vincent had the actual foresight to go, well, I've got a bit more speed coming to this corner. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into turn 13, carried the momentum through and checked up with Madden in the number 4 Caddy. A little bit of a bump and run, but as they say, rubbing's racing.
Not in these cars. These cars really do not take well to being rubbed and bumped. And I know this from experience. If you get a little bit front end ding, a little rear end ding, it can really upset these cars because it upsets the aerodynamics, which is really, really important on these cars.
Well, I've just noticed that Daniel Vincent's just had he's had a big old moment and has lost out third to to Rafael Torres in the meantime. So the 100 Porsche pushing maybe a little bit too hard. That would have been going in the run down into turns 2 and 3. So Madden now has a 10.2 second advantage over Rafael Torres. Daniel Vincent, unfortunately with that mistake, has just dropped a podium out of his grasp with around 4 minutes to go. Have a look at the GSRC replay. So this is up into turn 1. So over the top of the crest and bumps on the curbing, loses the back end on his own and takes a touch from behind. Madden having absolutely nowhere to go, and Vincent ending up on the left-hand side of the circuit on the run down the hill through to T2. Runs off wide, there's Torres, and he goes, thank you very much, I'll take third.
Well, I just want to mention a little bit good respect from the drivers there. You could, I caught Vincent making a comment to Madden there, or just he wasn't sure if there was actual contact, but we saw in the replay there the contact was just more the fact that Vincent's got really slow in front of him.
Yeah, that can be a bit of a problem, as there we see our race leader Jamil Gummer in the number 5 Acura. Very high vis. This is one of the things we both love about iRacing here, Rob, the fact of the different liveries that we got up and down the order. And it just goes to show that there are so many creative and talented individuals out there that create liveries for sim racing on a regular basis, and Jamil Gummer's looks very nice and colourful.
Yeah, really well done livery, and these cars are not hard to do liveries for. I do the liveries for my own team in my leagues that I run, and I mean this is just the detail that he's got there, whether that's right, just the wording and the way that wording is down the side. It says outfit, I believe, or what. I'm trying to figure out what it says.
I think you're right there. It looks quite not too dissimilar. But also there's a battle happening for 5th place. DCOG trying to close in on Tyler Neal for 5th position. There's David Madden in the number 4 caddy. V8 sounds glorious.
It is nice to hear in the ears for sure. It's a beautiful sound, especially if you're an old guy like me and those are the sounds you grew up with.
Yeah, I love the sound of a naturally aspirated V8 myself, as Neil and DCOG getting very close to one another indeed as the battle for 5th continues with 1.5 minutes still to go on the timer. Jamil Gummer will come across the line and we will have one more lap to go very shortly, as Tyler Neal goes very wide out of the corner, and this could allow DCOG to try and close that gap. It's less than it's about 0.4 of a second. It's coming out of turn 11 from Tyler Neal that he ran a little bit wide, but he's going to keep on the racing line, keep it pinned to the outside, carry the momentum through into the 90 left here at turn 12, and stays ahead of DCOG in the number 1 M&M caddy, as Jamil Gummer sets a new fastest lap of race, 1:53.187. Final lap underway here at COTA for race 1.
Yeah, DCOG tried to take it really deep there. Oh, he's got an off track there. See whether or not DCOG can take advantage of that, but I think he's a little bit too far behind to take advantage of that mistake by Neal.
So Gummer making the way through the first part of the circuit here at COTA as we ride on board with the number 5 Acura. Great onboard shots that we're seeing. Big thank you to our broadcast director Daniel Costello for the wonderful camera angles that we're seeing on board as Gummer goes over the crest, now down into what will be through turn 10 into the hard braking zone, all the way down the gearbox into 2nd gear, turn it in and nearly lock on the steering arms for the Acura. Now it's up the gearbox, heading into the backstretch, down in towards turn 12. Just got a few more corners to negotiate, and Gummer's lead over Madden is now 15.5 seconds and increasing. Hard on the brakes, back down the gearbox again into turn 12, and just the speed pickup that we're seeing. I mean, at that point Gummer was down into 1st going through T13 and into 14, and again, like we said, the short shifting helps with the traction in these lower speed corners on these GTPs. But it's been a faultless performance despite the first lap incident for Jamil Gummer here, Rob.
Yeah, it did really well. He had to fight for it a little bit, but you can just see just the raw pace he's got here. And keep in mind these cars do have traction control. So the other thing is, if you try and if you don't short shift, as he's coming ready here to take the win here. Go ahead.
So Jamil Gummer picks up the win in race 1 out of round 4 of the driving club at Road Atlanta Winter iRacing League, powered by DiscoveryParts. David Madden very much in the thick of things for that top 3 squabble, which was initially over the race lead. And the number 4 caddy powers its way across the line to take P2, 16.2 seconds adrift. Daniel Vincent, in the meantime, has got past Rafael Torres, as there's Cameron Campbell, who will be finishing a lap down, but will still take the checkered. There's Rafael Torres, who must have had a little bit of a spill in the meantime. But then we go back to the battle for 5th place. It's going to be DCOG, the number 1 M&M caddy, that's going to take 5th. Is it going to be the run to the line here? What can Tyler Neal do? He's going to try and run to the line. Won't get alongside the number 1 caddy and will end up 6th as Cameron Campbell. Oh, bit of afters there between those two. But Jamil Gummer, again, just showcasing the skill set that the number 5 Acura has around this circuit. So here are your provisional race results. Jamil Gummer in the number 5 Acura takes the win by 16.2 seconds ahead of David Madden in the number 4 caddy. 3 different manufacturers in the top 3, courtesy of Daniel Vincent in the number 100 Porsche 963. Rafael Torres started 2nd, finished 4th. Could have been on the rostrum. Could have been the number 6. DCOG in the number 1 caddy finishes 5th, just fractionally ahead of Tyler Neal. Cameron Campbell finishing a lap down, as Lord Franzi says, we'll get him next time, reference Tyler Neal. But all in all, Rob, an interesting first race and a good battle between the top 3 in the first 5 or so laps.
Yeah, it looked like the top 3 got it, had it all together pretty much for all 12 laps. DCOG, Torres, Neal, all looked, they all had a little bit of a moment, and unfortunately with the speed of these cars and the pace of these cars, if you have a moment, you're going to have a hard time catching those cars in front of you, especially if they're all running together and creating a draft between the 3 of them.
Well, that concludes the action for race 1 of round 4 of the driving club at Road Atlanta Winter iRacing League, powered by DiscoveryParts, here on the Global SimRacing Channel. We will be back ready for race 2 coming up in a little bit, which will be a 25-minute feature here at Circuit of the Americas at Austin in Texas. We'll catch up with you in a little bit. I like a replay. Welcome back to the Global SimRacing Channel for continuing coverage of Round 4 of the Driving Club at Road Atlanta Winter iRacing League, powered by DiscoveryParts. You rejoin myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and Rob Covey as we're getting ready to rock and roll for Race 2 of this penultimate round of the season. Rob, an interesting first race, but of course we've got a 25-minute race, which could see a bit more bang for your buck, so to speak, as they always say that everything's bigger in Texas.
Well, and you probably take it easy during that first race, just finding out what your car could do, unless your name is Jamil Gummer, when you push it for all it's worth, and really took that first win. But I think the drivers are a little settled down now coming into the second race, and we'll see if some of these drivers that had some issues in the first race can gather it up and be up there for contention for a win come the end of this one.
Yeah, last 5 minutes of qualifying for race 2, of course, with the Driving Club at Road Atlanta Winter iRacing League powered by DiscoveryParts. We have 2 separate qualifying sessions, so a curtailed qualifying session. 4 drivers having set a lap time so far. Jamil Gummer in the number 5 Acura, 1:53.2. Daniel Vincent, who managed to get a podium thanks to a late race mistake by Rafael Torres, who has yet to set a lap time on the board, but is going on a push lap here. There is DCOG in the number 5 Caddy, the M&M tribute band car that we have seen all the way through the evening. A lovely livery. Of course, M&M has been sponsors in all kinds of motor racing, if I'm very much mistaken, Rob. I think also made a trip to the NASCAR Cup Series at one point.
Well, it's still in the NASCAR Cup Series, and it's it's run by one of the more hated guys, Kyle Busch. So, I mean, they do make their rounds, and they do pick particular drivers to run their liveries.
Yeah, exactly. For those that did catch the Daytona 500, I think Joe Nemechek was not flavour of the month early into the race, if anyone hasn't seen it yet. But, yeah, we're riding on board with Tyler O'Neill, who's being supported in chat by Lord Franzi, as the number 8 car is running around the circuit. Last lap was a 2:05.8, but was not registered due to it being invalidated on this particular server. But with 3 1/4 minutes to go, Jamil Gummer looking to make it 2 pole positions in a row, could make it 2 wins out of 2 here tonight, because folks, there is one more round of this season here on the Driving Club at Road Atlanta Winter iRacing League, because on March 5th we head back to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta for the season finale, again with the GTP machinery. The iconic location of the Petit Le Mans, which always is a halcyon part of the WeatherTech IMSA Sports Car Championship year in, year out. But hopefully Tyler Neal can go a little bit higher than what he did in the previous race. I think, if I remember correctly, Rob, ended up P5 or P6 in the last trip around here at COTA.
Yeah, I'm sure he wasn't happy with his performance there. Had a few moments, but back to Jamil Gummer, getting pole, running pretty much the fastest laps right now, currently sitting on pole. But hopefully he's managed to fix that problem he had in the first race, where he did not get off the line and kind of got swallowed up by David Madden and Daniel Vincent, and had to actually work his way to the front. Wasn't an easy task for him to take it over.
No, he bogged down at the start. So the first phase of the start for the Acura did not go to plan, and just completely bogged down and found himself at the back end of the field, heading into, going through the uphill climb through into T1, and made good his intentions by, I think, the halfway through lap 1 he was already back up to P3, so made mincemeat of the rest of the opposition in front of him, and is trying to go a little bit quicker. Currently running on the soft tyres at the moment, and has just put in a 1:55.8 on that previous flying lap, but has done enough, unless David Madden can find something in the number 7 Caddy to close that 0.6 of a second gap. But as we know, we said about qualifying being one thing and racing being another. Jamil Gummer's got to get off the line a lot better this time around for this 25-minute race coming up.
Yeah, it looked like he just kind of asleep at the wheel there, and it just he didn't, lights went green. He didn't move, and everybody had to take evasive action to get around him. But he did show some patience and made his way back up to the front. And unfortunately for everybody else, when he did get up and take over that lead position, he kind of walked away from everybody else in the field.
Yeah, so Rafael Torres goes in and goes within 0.17 of a second. So it could be the fact we have Acura and Porsche on the front row. This time again for the second race in succession. 0.165 slower was the number 4 of Rafael Torres, a 1:53.374. David Madden is currently 2/10 up at the minute in the number 7 caddy. So could this be the opportunity that Madden has? Well, he needs to be a little bit more. Well, he's up 4/10 now coming out of the final corner. So can the number 7, David Madden, in the caddy, put one up on Torres? Comes across the line, closes the gap by about 1/10.5 as Rafael Torres has just gone 0.8 of a second quicker at this moment. Jamil Gummer has pulled it into pit lane, thinks he's done enough, but Rafael Torres has just returned to garage as well. Was 0.8 up, then went a second down, so lost nearly 2 seconds in the process. David Madden not improving. Daniel Vincent goes wide again, and he didn't have a good run in race 1 when he was battling away with Madden. He lost the back end on his own accord through out of turn 1, and Madden had nowhere to go, and there was a slight bit of a touch between them. But looks like we will be gridding up very, very shortly. Daniel Vincent is still tracking around the circuit, but it's 2.5 seconds down on his actual delta. But Jamil Gummer again there, Rob. 2 pole positions in a row. Could be on the possibility of getting 2 wins on the bounce here tonight.
Yeah, and I mean the most crucial is that run up into turn 1, because as soon as you hit the top of that crest, even with the aero in these cars and the suspension, the way that it crests, you pretty much lose everything on the front end as you reach the top of that hill. Right when you've actually got to do your turn and want to, clip that apex and get a really good run out down into 2, 3, 4, and all the way down through 9. So it's going to be interesting to see if a lot of drivers had some issues there at the beginning. I believe we saw one car go around. See if they can all do it just a little bit cleaner this time.
Yeah, so the only car, according to the live timing that I'm seeing at the moment, is that Cameron Campbell still showing on track. We've got 5 out of 8 drivers that have set a lap time. The 00 Simon Hong has shown up for race 2 in a Porsche 963 GTP. So again, we are still having 3 manufacturers represented. Greg G saying Team Neil in the house. Cameron Campbell is sitting in pit road as we have had the checkered in this qualifying session, so we're just waiting for the server to time out in about 35 seconds, and then we'll be able to move on to the next session and then start gridding up, readying ourselves for the 25-minute sprint race. A big thank you to everyone that's joined us on the broadcast here this evening on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Of course, keep your eyes peeled for the end of the show here tonight, and you'll find out which races are coming up on our broadcast schedule here on GSRC. So thank you very much for taking the time to join us. But it is going to be Jamil Gummer that is going to take pole position for the second race in a row. It is going to be a 25-minute race, not a 20-minute race like we saw earlier on. Of course, open setup, and you get a drive through as soon as you have 25 instant points. So here is your starting grid. It's going to be Jamil Gummer and Rafael Torres on the front row. So Acura versus Porsche. David Madden and Daniel Vincent will be on row 2. DCOG will be joined by Simon Hong in the 00, according to our starting grid. Cameron Campbell and Tyler Neal will bring up the rear of the field, both running in the Porsche 963s. 5 out of 8 cars representing Weissach's finest. With 2 caddies and 1 Acura, and the Acura, the AR06 of Jamil Gummer, has been the class of the field. We are going to head towards the circuit as drivers now starting to grid up. Air temperature now 69 degrees Fahrenheit, 21 degrees Celsius, but the track has developed a lot more temperature. 39 degrees Celsius, over 102 Fahrenheit. Winds have picked up here, Rob, and so has the humidity.
Well, and I mean, those are going to affect them from the first race. The track temperatures are up, the car's going to slide a little more on cold tires, and these winds are going to really affect them through some of these corners.
So we are waiting for the drivers to grid up here at Circuit of the Americas in the Lone Star State of Texas. And will we see Jamil Gummer do the double here tonight here on GSRC? You're going to join myself and Rob all the way through as we provide the action as it happens in sound and vision. Words always uttered by the iconic voice of Mr. John Hindhaugh from Radio Lamar. But Torres has gridded up, Madden has, Vincent has, Cameron Campbell has, Tyler Neal has. We're just waiting for the last few drivers to do so, which will include Jamil Gummer, DCOG. Simon Hong might be joining us on the grid. We'll start from the outside of row number 3. So some nice revving of the engines there, Rob. It's always a nice thing when they just check the throttle, making sure that it's working so at least they can get a good launch off the line. Okay, so the red lights are on the gantry. Looks like Jamil Gummer didn't make it to the server on time. Green lights are on, and we are underway. Great start there by Madden, who gets an absolute hole shot. Torres, unfortunately, not getting it off the line quick enough, has got Vincent round the outside of him at turn 1. It's a three-way exchange. Oh, a little bit of a touch there between Campbell and Neal through the exit of turn number 1. So we are going to have 6 cars. So Jamil Gummer not able to make the start. As Tyler Neal off left-hand side, and I think
that was a big off.
That was huge, and I think Tyler Neal, that car, well, that front end. Anyone might remember a certain Nick Tandy going off at the Le Mans chicane last year at the Daytona International Speedway, rearranging the front of that Porsche 963. That's exactly what's just happened with Tyler Neal, and he's returned to garage already as David Madden leads the field. Oh, he runs a bit wide coming out of that corner. That's going to allow Vincent. We hopefully will catch a replay of what just happened with Tyler Neal, as there is a 4-way scrap. It's Madden from Vincent, DCOG and Torres running at the top 4, covered by 2.1 seconds.
Yeah, lots of interesting start to this one, losing Jamil and not being able to get in, and then that incident with Tyler just caught the tail end of it there. Almost looked like he didn't even touch the brakes.
Yeah, he was off at a rapid velocity. Here's the GSRC replay with Tyler Neal. So they're coming down the hill through turn 2. He's right with Torres. Oh, bumps over the sausage curbs. And that's what caused him to hit the barriers on the left-hand side front end of the Porsche. Rearranged, and the right wheel is wobbling around, and that is a full-on 360 after impacting with the barrier off of the outskirts of turn number 4. Real shame there for Tyler Neal as we go to the helicam shot coming out of the final corner as DCOG being chased down by Torres for the final step on the rostrum, but Madden not quite yet getting away from Vincent.
Well, and that's actually one thing we didn't mention either is, we're talking high downforce and the suspension on these cars, but the, sausage curbs, as they're better known as around COTA here, if you clip them in one of these cars, you just saw how much it just launched him into the air, and there's not going to be any grip. All 4 tires are off the ground, and you're just hanging on and hoping you're going to miss the wall.
Yeah, thank you to Lord Franzi in chat saying Neal is dealing with brutal technical difficulties. It's hurting him, hate to see it. So maybe he might have had a software or a hardware failure going through that particular part of the circuit where the car, I think, just literally went straight on, hit the sausage curb, pitched the back end into the air. Oh my goodness me, Torres with a lunge up the inside of DCOG into turn 11, gets through for P3. That was a send and a half from the number 4 Porsche.
Yeah, that was a risky send, and I think DCOG kind of reacted to it saying, you know what, I'm going to let him go and I'll take the off track, because that would, had DCOG not taken evasive there, that probably would have not ended well for either one of them.
Yeah, exactly. And Torres now, in the meantime, has got onto the rear diffuser of Daniel Vincent in the 100 Porsche. Madden sprinting away with the opening 2.5 minutes completed to about a 2-second lead. Torres nearly outbraking himself there as they go into the next part of the circuit, into the fast triple right here at 16, 17 and 18 in the 5th gear. Now we'll start to apply the power. It's going to be hard on the brakes here. Into turn 19, down to 3rd gear. Let the car drift a little bit wide. Apply the power once again up to 4th. Down to 3rd, down to 2nd, down to 1st gear. Now could use the deployment. But Vincent gets a good run out of the final corner. To David Madden, first now puts a new marker down, 153.7. His gap between him and Vincent. Torres looking up the inside through T1. That was never going to work.
No, that was a really aggressive move by Torres. It looks, you know, he's putting everything he's got in there. He's got to be a little careful with these cars, though, because like I said, you know, they're very unforgiving if you make a mistake. But you could see there, he really wants to move that car forward as fast as he can and maybe get some clean air himself and make a run at Madden.
Yeah, well, in the meantime, Torres has dropped decog like a bad habit at the moment. The gap between them is about 2.2 seconds, as there is the number 100 of Daniel Vincent still holding on to P2 as they go down the hill again. And this is going to be very, very interesting to see as they'll go through into T11. And Vincent keeping it nice and tidy. Torres running a little bit wide as they go down the backstretch through between turns 11 and 12. And this is where they're really going to pick up speed, probably pushing the best part of north of 270 kilometers an hour. Torres flashes the lights, looks towards the inside. And is this going to be a late dive? No, it isn't, but he goes towards the outside, probably to get the over-under on Vincent through into T12. And the 100 was very quick to put it on the racing line, up the inside through in towards turn 13. And on that particular occasion, Vincent defends very sternly, stayed on the racing line and said to Torres, "You will not get past me like that."
No, and I mean, I'm sure it's in the back of his mind. You know, I'm sure he felt that there was a little tap there, not much, but I'm sure he felt that tap earlier. You could just see Torres is all over his mirrors, all over the back end of his car, you know, just hoping to make him make a mistake. And if he does make a mistake, Torres is going to pounce on him and go around him.
Yeah, good to hear from Jason Owens, currently in Colorado for some skiing. Oh, you must be at the Aspen ski slopes. Hope you're enjoying some après ski at the moment. Flash of the lights from Torres as they go down the start-finish straight into turn 1. Torres again switches to the outside. Vincent keeps it nice and tight on the inside, but this could be the over-under that Torres needs. Down the hill into turn 2. Vincent again just keeping the car placed where he needs to, not to allow Torres the opportunity to get through as they go through turns 3, 4, now into 5. This is where the speed goes down a little bit, but they've got to be very, very careful. They'll be shifting down the gearbox, slightly using a bit of braking modulation as they'll head in towards turn 9 and 10 very shortly. But Vincent is keeping himself very much where he needs to be, as if to not let Torres to get through. But whilst they've been battling away, Madden has gotten away to the tune of about 3 3/4 seconds. So Jason Owens is actually cheering on Daniel Vincent as look at the run that Torres gets through, even running wide out of T11. This could be the opportunity that the number 4 Porsche needs to go up into second place. He might try, he's literally doing the old NASCAR bump drafting on the number 100. And again, Vincent defends. Torres goes towards the outside here at turn 12. He's run very, very wide off the circuit. He's going to have to slot in behind Vincent as Torres just carried too much overspeed into the corner, nearly locked up under braking and had to back out of it.
Well, and that deep underneath him, you know, you've got the aero wash, you know, takes away a lot of the downforce on the front of the car because you know, it's coming over the back wing of the car in front of you and just completely missing the front end. You can see Torres here trying to make that inside move. Is he going to get it to stick? And he got it to stick. Now let's see whether or not Vincent's going to come back at him here on the left-hander.
They both run wide. Vincent definitely went and threw the Hail Mary up the inside. He's got back through for second position, has the number 100 Porsche. Great scrap for the runner-up step on the virtual rostrum here at Circuit of the Americas. As we've completed lap 5, we're now on to lap 6 as we run aboard with Rafael Torres in the number 4 as we go up the hill into T1. Torres takes a tighter line. Vincent parks the car where he needs to. Torres with 2 wheels off of the circuit at the exit of turn number 1 and through 2. Now into 3 underneath the bridge, into 4. You can hear the change in throttle application. They go down to 4th, down to 3rd gear, and you can hear with the throttle inputs from Torres, he's just waiting until he can get that pedal down right to the floor, and that's not going to happen until you get out of turn number 11, up from 3rd gear into 4th. Look at the closing rate that Torres has got on Vincent. This could be a move up the inside into turn 11. It is going to be a move up the inside at turn 11 into second place. But how is he going to get the run out of turn number 11? Well, Vincent pulls straight away to the left-hand side of the number 4 Porsche. So 4 versus 100. It's Torres versus Vincent in the battle for P2. Meanwhile, Madden, with 9 minutes completed, 16 to go, is 7.5 seconds up the road through into turn 12. Vincent goes up the inside, Torres runs wide, and Vincent back up into P2 as they head through into turn 13 and 14, a very tight double right-hander complex before they go into 15, another tight left-hander. Torres trying to stick the nose of his Porsche up the inside of Vincent, but no going there.
Yeah, great scrap between these two. You know, a little bit of bumping. You know, nothing really that's going to damage the car. Some great side-by-side, Porsche versus Porsche. You know, it is open setup, but it's really nice to see that, you know, it looks like these two cars are very, very well matched. And when they can close up on one another, they can really give us some real excitement with what they can do with this car.
Jason Owens in chat says, Tyler did tell me yesterday that he needs new pedals, laugh out loud. Well, Tyler, you've got a couple of weeks to sort that out, buddy. As again, Torres flashing the lights, going into the run into T1. Manages to control the overspeed on that particular occasion through the first corner, and he looks up the inside through turn 2. And Vincent just went, no, I'm parking it exactly on the racing line. And that's the good thing when you see a driver like Daniel Vincent just keeping it placed on the racing line, which he is perfectly entitled to do so, and is saying to Torres, right, if you're going to get past me, you've got to do something special.
Yeah, it's not just, yeah, here, take the spot. No, you want this spot, then you're going to have to work for it. And as you can see Torres try and grab the inside down here into the run into turn 12. Or sorry,
yeah.
This is...
Yeah, turn 11. So they're going to go on
11.
Yeah, turn 11. So Torres runs wide. Vincent now in the draft. And they are pushing incredible high speeds here in these Porsche 963 GTPs. Vincent going towards the right-hand side, nearly a bit of a rub between the pair. There is contact, and around goes Torres. Around goes Torres.
Oh.
He collects Vincent. Oh, that was so close. But Torres, I think, was of the presence of mind when I don't want to go backwards any further. I need to hit the brakes.
Yeah, that was really close. Almost, it almost got Vincent there. I'm sure there was, might even have seen an incident point on their screens. That was extremely close, but I'm sure right now Torres is probably one of the more angry drivers out on the track at the moment.
Definitely the aggressive level has been, in the words of Spinal Tap, been tuned up to volume number 11. He was going for it, and it was like the immovable force versus the unstoppable object, and Vincent came out better in comparison with the two on that one. So this will give Daniel Vincent the opportunity to close what is the best part of a 8.8 second gap between himself and Madden, and there's still 13 minutes to go, so there is every opportunity that if Vincent just he's got clean air in front of him, so he's not going to have to worry about Torres fighting him for position. But Madden already, with 12 minutes completed out of this race, has a considerable gap, which is sort of like pendulum swinging at the moment. At one point it was 9.5 seconds, it is coming up to 9.2 seconds, but Vincent seems to be very much one with the Porsche underneath him at the minute.
Yeah, just looking at trying to see the lap times here when they come through, because you know, David is running about a second, almost a full second quicker than anybody else out on track. We'll have to see how Vincent does now that he's not battling Torres, what kind of pace he can put forward.
Yeah, at the moment, it's looking like that Madden's got about a 7/10 of a second advantage. There's DCOG in the number 5 M&M Caddy. There's Cameron Campbell running in P5 at the moment. Tyler Neal, well, the number 8 963 Porsche, unfortunately, despite the technical dramas, having that massive off at turn 4 on lap 1, did not return to the race because of the fact that it was terminal damage to the right front of that Porsche. And as we would say in the United Kingdom, there were only 3 wheels hanging onto that wagon completely, whereas the right front was flapping all over the place. But good to see that Cameron Campbell finished 7th in the opening race. Might be pretty happy in the fact that he is going to finish P5 despite the dramas for Tyler Neal. Daniel Vincent at the moment, I don't think he's going to... I mean, if he was, like, say, maybe 2 or 3 seconds behind David Madden, he might have the window of opportunity to close on him. But in clear air, that Porsche is running in the low 155s, whereas Madden's just done a 53.9 and is a clear second quicker.
Yeah, just just into a nice rhythm here. I've got a different screen to watch him around the track, and he's just smooth and concise, and just kind of just letting the car go where it wants to go. Maybe push a little bit too hard here and there, but what he doesn't want to do is say, okay, I want to open this gap, try and push a little harder, and maybe make a mistake that allows Vincent and or Torres to close in on him.
Yeah, exactly. We saw Vincent having a moment through T1 on the opening race, but he's, like they say, do it once, shame on you. Do it twice, shame on me. And he won't be bitten twice at the same part of the circuit. There's Rafael Torres now, about the best part of 7 seconds behind Vincent, and you can see they are within the same screenshot, just shortly there. There's Decog in the background in the M&M Caddy, a little bit further back from Torres, but now they're making their way down the back stretch, so Vincent will be making his way through turn 12 as Torres will now hit the brakes, turn the car in and rotate it. I mean, we haven't really mentioned much about the deployment on these GTP cars, Rob, apart from race 1, but again, it's sort of knowing when the hybrid deployment is available, and the drivers will have that on their HUDs.
Well, and the deploy, I mean, they have 3 different deployments. They want to build the battery up. They want to just run balanced, which basically what it is it's an electronic system that will deploy the hybrid power when you get on the gas, but try and calculate to leave you with about 50% battery when you cross the start finish line. And then there's full on attack mode, which basically means it will boost the hybrid to its highest point, to where the turbo lag kicks in. At that point, the attack deployment will kick out as well, but you do get that full extra speed. But as I said, around here, 25 minutes, you probably get about, if I remember correctly, probably about 4 or 5 laps on full attack mode before you'd have to maybe back it off to balanced, which will, take away from a little bit of your speed. But overall, you'll be running probably within 5 to 6 tenths of your previous lap times.
So at the moment, with nearly 9 laps completed, 8 minutes and 40 still to go on the timer. There's your race leader, David Madden, who picks up P2 in race 1 a little bit earlier on tonight in the number 7 Cadillac, doing a smooth, consistent drive here at Circuit of the Americas. And again, just sort of seeing the way that these drivers circumnavigate their way around this 20-turn, circuit. It is just really interesting to see that a circuit that was built originally for Formula 1, now on iRacing, can see GTP cars roaring or wheezing their way past certain corners. It's great to have that facility here on the iRacing service here, Rob.
Well, and that's the thing. This originally was a Formula 1, and now, we get IMSA here, we get NASCAR trucks, we get NASCAR Xfinity, the full NASCAR Cup Series comes here, has started coming around here. So becoming a very, very popular track with everybody that drives it, because it is just one of those tracks where when you get it right, it is so satisfying. It's almost like, I guess you could almost say it's kind of like a smaller, a little bit, less speed Le Mans, just the way that it the ebb and flow with the corners.
Yeah, and also for 2024, World Endurance Championship will be there on September 1st for the Lone Star Le Mans this year. So we'll have all the, I think it's the best part of nearly 20 LMDH cars running around the circuit, which will include the fact that BMW are going to be entering the World Endurance Championship with Team WRT with a 2-car effort this year. Porsche have got multiple cars, including the iconic, squad run by the captain, Porsche Penske Motorsport. We've also got Jotorsport, who will have 2009 Formula 1 World Champion and 2018 Super GT 500 Champion Jenson Button in one of their cars. Of course, Ferrari AF Corsa and the AF Corsa Satellite Squad will see 3 499P Ferraris running around this particular circuit here in the autumn part of it. But which will be, I think, really, really cool for the, for the fans, not just from Austin and the local surrounding areas, but everyone around the globe that gets an opportunity to come to COTA to see, the top tier of sports car racing, not just from LMDH, but also for GT3s, because GTEs have now gone by the wayside. There's Rafael Torres running a little bit wide again, and he's lost a big old time after that incident. He's now about 11 seconds behind the number 100, but still with 5 minutes to go, just over 5 minutes plus change to go here, Rob. Madden's doing exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah, just running clean and, clean, consistent laps, consistently in the 153 sixes, 153H, just, nice and consistent. Unfortunately, we've lost Tyler Neal. Looks, according to my timing screen, looks like we've lost Cameron Campbell as well. Maybe, I'm not sure if he had an incident. So down to 4 drivers, they're spread out a little bit, but I mean, that doesn't take away from, trying to move yourself forward. There's always the opportunity for somebody to make a mistake here. We haven't been really watching the off tracks, and I mean, they do have 25, but who knows? Maybe somebody's clicked those up and is going to get a drive through with a minute to go in the race.
Yeah, and sometimes, folks, that can happen. You're trying to push the limit of adhesion in these GTP cars around here at COTA, and one wrong move, one misstep, so to speak, will put you on the back foot. There's DCOG in the number 5 car. And again, that wonderful 5.5 litre flat plate crank, naturally aspirated V8, just, it's an absolute brute. Like you say, Rob, it's a wonderful engine, even on the iRacing service. The amount of detail with regards to laser scanning the cars, getting the noise of the cars sounding exactly like the real thing is just a joy to behold.
Well, and it's funny too, because there's, they've brought on a few cars a couple times, or they've made modifications to a car. And I mean, the forums just blow up going, oh my God, this car doesn't sound right. It just sounds terrible. And I mean, they make a huge effort to say, okay, and they will fix it and make the car sound the way it sounds. And I mean, like I said, I ran the GTP in the 24-hour Daytona, and I mean, listening to that car for 24 hours, there's nothing sweeter than that.
There you go. But there is Madden. He's now on his way through onto lap 12, so we are due to hit a completion after 14 laps. So by the time that David Madden comes across the stripe once again after another lap, we could be on our final lap of the evening. There's Daniel Vincent still tracking true around this 3.427 mile 20 turn circuit, opened back in late October of 2012. So good to see that COTA is bringing the masses. Of course, Formula One is part of the, well, this year, 24 races, the biggest ever calendar in the 7+ decade history of Formula One, which will bring a lot of people, including from over the border in Mexico, willing on Checo Perez, the Mexican Minister of Defense, as he's well known in Formula One circles as. That's his proverbial nickname. But Vincent, again, just this will be a nice way for him to round off the evening. A 3rd place in race 1 and a runner-up step on the rostrum here in race 2. Of course, for those wondering why there are no championship points, well, the thing is, this is all about friendly competition. These people know each other very, very well. They'll be talking after the race, before the race, saying, okay, what are you running in? And when we saw the first bit of racing action with the GTPs live here on GSRC, of course, it was the World Centre of Speed, the Daytona International Raceway road course, which was absolutely brilliant from myself, from my perspective, and also DJ Clark's perspective. And still with a couple of minutes to go, I think we will get this to go as Madden crosses the stripe with just over 2 minutes to go. So 2 to go for the number 7, the caddy. And it's been like a Wednesday afternoon cruise in the evening for this man here.
Yeah, just Mr. Consistency right now, and very happy that he's out front. He's got nobody to worry about. He's got lots of space. Relax and drive. And I mean, this is a learning time for the GTP as well. I mean, you're always learning something new on the track, and believe it or not, even when you're in the middle of a race, you get open track like this. You'll play with little things, and you'll say, oh no, this works a little better. And you'll carry that on to the next race and maybe move yourself up for a win.
Yeah, because I mean, I've recently had some seat time on iRacing and getting to understand the subtle nuances.
Oh, and Madden just had a moment, a huge moment.
Oh, he's lost a bag full of time.
He had a full spin around 360.
Well, he's lost half his lead already. But at least it wasn't earlier on in the race, because that could have cost him big time. Decog's just had a slight off track, but that was what was nearly a 12-second lead. That has been halved. And the thing is, folks, if that was another 5 minutes on the clock, let's have a look at the GSRC replay here. So this is coming through into turn 11. He's going to put the power down. Oh! Big old spin there. Just hitting the land pedal a little bit too hard coming out of turn 11.
Well, good job there keeping it out of the fence too. I mean, he came pretty close there, and I mean, you could see Vincent coming up the track in the background. So, you know, he's closed that gap up.
Yeah, gonna go on.
But he's run out of time.
Yeah, he's run out of time. It could be the fact we might get the checkered, or it could be close to the wire. 3, 2, 1. Final lap underway. So 6.4 seconds is the differential between David Madden and Daniel Vincent on what is now lap 14 out of 14 here for race 2 of round 4. The driving club at Road Atlanta Winter iRacing Series, powered by powered by DiscoveryParts. But as you said, Madden, very, very lucky. That was definitely Code Brown out of turn 11, written all over it.
Yeah, and you can see a couple of little wiggles there with the wheel, and he's just, you know, he's got to gather himself up, because another off like that, and he's not, you know, coming down here into turn 11. This is where he did it last time. He's going to want to be a lot more careful here and not light those rears up. Got that sausage curb a little bit, but waited for the car to straighten out before he got down on the power.
Yeah, it's the old point and squirt tactic, as we're going to go to another GSRC replay. This is Rafael Torres. So what's happened to him? This is, oh, he's lost the back end, and it's going to go around on him. Oh dear. He was very lucky indeed. Caught it through in the kiddie litter at the gravel. That has put Decog in the number 5 Cadillac up to P3. So Torres again was on the verge of getting a podium. And that's the second race in a row where Torres has dropped it and has lost out big time. We are coming towards the end of this second race of round 4 here at COTA. David Madden has started to expand that gap ever so slightly. Again, it's up to 7.5 seconds, but it's been pretty much a formality. No Jamil Gummer, who wasn't able to grid up in time. And out of the final corner, it's going to be the number 7 Cadillac with David Madden, second in race 1. Picks up the W here in race 2 and crosses the line in the caddy at full throttle, winning by a comfortable margin. Daniel Vincent, third in race 1, second here in race 2, 7.6 seconds behind. And Decog is very shortly going to be coming through the final couple of corners. There is the number 5 M&N liveried caddy making his way towards the final part of the circuit out of turn number 19. And at a snail's pace, dropping down the gears. Knows that he's got a bit of distance between himself and Rafael Torres, but that car is running. Has he run out of fuel? That car is running.
Is he running out of fuel, or is he going to let Torres go past him?
He might. Well, I'm not sure. Well, no. He managed to get up to full throttle and kept Decog still held on to P3 at the end of that race, with Rafael Torres being the last of the classified finishers after that one. So here are your race results. David Madden winning race 2 here at round 4 of the driving club at Road Atlanta Winter iRacing League, powered by DiscoveryParts, by 7.6 seconds. Head of Daniel Vincent. Decog, Drivers Club of Georgia, in the number 5, finishes in third, just fractionally ahead of Rafael Torres. We thought that Decog had run out of fuel, but managed to put the pedal to the metal and come across the line to round out the rostrum. Cameron Campbell unfortunately retired on lap 7. Tyler Neal with the biggest off of the night at turn 4 after hitting sausage curbs with technical problems, meant that the number 8 would not complete the race. Jamil Gummer was due to start on pole, didn't finish. And also Simon Hong, who was in the server, didn't show. So I'm not too sure if we might get a chat with any of our drivers post-race, but Rob, again, some great battling in that second race here at COTA.
Yeah, and these cars are set up for that. And these drivers, as you said, it's a friendly league. They know each other. And I mean, there's probably some bad blood that's probably going to go through with them all later for a couple of the drivers. But overall, I mean, everybody nice and quick, everybody respectful, and put on a great show for us here today.
Exactly. Well, folks, that rounds out live coverage here on the Global SimRacing Challenge of round 4 of the Driving Club at Road Atlanta Winter iRacing League, powered by DiscoveryParts. A big thank you to the GSRC team today. Big thank you to Rob. Big thank you to Daniel. Big thank you to Dougie. Make sure you check out our social media, website, and merchandise store listed on the screen. Whilst you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so you don't miss a moment of the action here on GSRC. So there are some of our upcoming events. Our next race here for the Driving Club at Road Atlanta Winter iRacing Series, powered by DiscoveryParts, will be March 5th. It's the final round. We'll head to Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta, 8 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to check out some of our other broadcasts listed here. Until next time, we'll see you race clean, race hard. We'll see you out on track for more full throttle racing action. Goodbye.